Everybody, this is Mr. View, and today we're going to be talking about some of the problems in the world. I had you guys do that short little essay, whatever paragraph, whatever you want to call it, about what you thought was the major issue facing the world. And it was interesting in my class after we talked about it to hear the different student perspectives of what they thought was the major problems within the world, and especially in the United States. Had a great talk and debate. But today we're going to see what the United Nations thinks is the top problems or are the top problems in the world. United Nations, remember, they're supposed to be peacekeepers. If there's a conflict in the world, the UN steps in and they basically get the sides together and they talk about the issues, the problems. But they also, instead of just trying to stop wars, they try to keep the world a good place, right? Including they have the World Health Organization as part of the UN, and they've really stepped in this last year with COVID and tried to help out the world. They gave guidelines and what we should do and what we shouldn't do, and this is what's going on. And so the World Health Organization has been a big player in the last year for sure, right? Some of the problems that the UN says are major issues in the world. Number one, overpopulation. Overpopulation means that the population, the number of people, is higher than the carrying capacity of the world, right? The world is supposed to have a capacity of about 10 billion people. Ooh, typo. 10 billion people, right? And right now, there's about 7.5 billion people in the world. So we're inching closer to that 10 billion person capacity. It's like if your boat says it can hold 7 people and you're at 5 right now, right? And people keep trying to get on your boat. So that's what it equates to. Overpopulation they see is a growing issue. The world's population is growing pretty quickly, so we've got to be careful. Why is that happening? Well, number one, there's a low mortality rate, low death rate. Not a lot of people are dying. They're not dying very young, right? Before, in previous time periods, babies didn't survive childbirth or childhood, either way. So there was a higher mortality rate. Now, low mortality rate. The age for the average death is going up and up and up, right? It's not rare that people are living in their 70s, 80s, 90s, even hundreds. Now, way back then, it was way different, right? Middle ages, 30. Now we're 70 something. So the low mortality rate. And that's caused because of better medicine. There's a lot better medicine. Somebody gets sick, they get better, right? We have cures for a lot of diseases. We have vaccines like the coronavirus and things like that. So better medicine is playing a major role in this. What does overpopulation cause? Well, it causes things like our resources to be depleted. Uses up all our resources, right? If you've got 10 people eating at a table, the food goes really quickly, right? So this is going to be depleting our resources, the stuff that we need to live. It also causes immigration, right? If a city is overpopulated, people tend to move out. They spread out. Or if a country is overpopulated and they can't take care of its citizens, they move to other countries that can. That's why people want to come to the United States, right? It also causes conflicts or wars. If you have too many people in your country, you need to spread out. So what does that do? That means I want to expand my borders. I want to take over Canada. So I've got more living space, right? I've got more places to put my people. So that causes conflicts and war. It also causes unemployment. If there are too many people and not enough jobs, unemployment is caused. If you've got not enough jobs and people are starving, that causes crime, right? If people don't have money, people steal. They got to get their stuff somehow. So that causes a lot of crime in the world. Another problem with overpopulation or with the United Nations, is pollution. It caused 9 million premature deaths in 2015. And it's generally in these poorer countries, which they're uneducated about pollution, but also the industrialized countries, sometimes they don't seem to care. It leads to heart disease, lung cancer, a lot of bad stuff, right? Water pollution is a major one. Dirty drinking water causes a lot of deaths, believe it or not. It's caused by work also in manufacturing, right? You see those giant factories and they're spewing smoke all over the place. And then vehicles. We're going to greener vehicles, hybrids and electric cars and things like that to limit emissions into the atmosphere. So a lot of this is the bad stuff for pollution. Clean water is a huge issue according to the United Nations, and a lot of these places, the underdeveloped countries, the third world countries, they don't have clean, safe drinking water. And we know that that bacteria that's formed in that water that causes sickness and death and disease. Right? Firsthand, we found out about the coronavirus this last year, how devastating a disease can be, partially due to that overpopulation that we talked about, right? Where did it hit the hardest? It hit the hardest in these big cities. New York City, think about that, right? It smacked New York City a lot because the people are kind of close together. Energy is also a looming crisis, according to the UN, and education, or a lack of education. The knowledge is power thing is true. Right? The smarter countries seem to do well, whereas the less educated countries, they struggle with these diseases and the clean water and the pollution and all these other things because they are uneducated. They don't know that this causes sickness. Okay? So that's the lecture for today. I will talk to you again tomorrow, answer the questions, and I will see you then. Bye bye.